Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Craig. I'm the operations manager at Global Adventure Challenges, and I'm joined by Terry, who's going to be your challenge leader on the Inca Trail trek that's coming up in a few weeks' time. The purpose of the call really is to give you a bit more insight into the itinerary and also hopefully bring that to life as best as we can. We'll also answer some questions which we know you've asked via the charity as well. So to get started, I'll just give you a bit of an idea of what we're going to cover. I'll just give you a little bit more information about who Global Adventure Challenges are and what we do. I'm then going to hand over to Terry, and Terry's going to talk through the challenge itinerary and then answer all of the questions which you've asked. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Global Adventure Challenges, we are a charity challenge provider. We've been operating for in excess of 20 years, and we've worked with over 1,500 different charities and helped raise in excess of £50 million through the provision of the challenges that we've put on. We do everything from things like Inca Trail to Kilimanjaro, and we also operate in the UK and Europe as well with things like Ben Nevis climbs, Snowdon climbs, cycling from London to Paris, etc. We are currently operating in over 36 countries worldwide, and I suppose significantly for all of you that are taking part, it's worth noting that we are fully bonded through the Civil Aviation Authority, and we have an ATOL license in the same way that any other tour operator like TUI or anyone else would. So your challenge package is protected. So to all intents and purposes, you know, we aren't a holiday provider, but if you booked a holiday, you'd have that same level of protection. So that's a little bit of insight into who we are. With regards to charity challenges, particularly our overseas challenges, you will be accompanied by a UK challenge leader, which in this case is Terry, and also by a UK doctor as well. For those that haven't taken part in a charity challenge before, they are truly special experiences, and in particular, what is important on a charity challenge is the ethos that is created, and I would say the largest part of that ethos being created comes from the group, and that comes down to approaching it with the mindset that you're not only on it for you as an individual, with your own goals to complete the challenge, but you're also there to achieve that goal with other people that are also looking to do so. And similarly, you're also there because you're raising money for a really, really worthwhile cause. So what makes a charity challenge experience really worthwhile, and how you can get the best from it, is that it's not just about completing the Inca Trail trek. A huge amount of what can be gained from taking part in the charity challenge is through the people that you do it with. So by sharing stories, sharing those experiences, chatting to people, meeting new people, finding out about them and why they're doing the challenges, and also just sharing some of those experiences that happen throughout the trek, whether it's that everyone starts talking about toileting, or someone's done something silly, or whatever it might be. Everyone's going to have stories to share together by the end of it, and you will all become like one big family. Now, what I would say for anyone that's got any sort of doubts about their ability to join in with a group, especially if you're signed up as an individual and you haven't got a friend or family member that's doing it with you, is that from the outset, Terry and the team will really, really champion everybody supporting each other. Like I said, everybody's in it together. And so there might be times in the challenge where you are getting a pat on the back or some words of encouragement, but then equally there might be times in the challenge where you are giving somebody else a pat on the back and some words of encouragement. From our point of view, everybody within that group has got something to offer, whether you're 18 or 88 or whether it's your first challenge or your 21st challenge. So please do be assured that everybody will be accommodated and looked after within that group. I'm going to hand over to Terry now, so she can talk through the challenge itinerary, and then I've got a few little bits to cover at the end, just with regards to the administration of the challenge and further correspondence that we'll send to you in the lead up. So over to you, Terry.
Well, hello guys. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. My name is Terry Savage-Hurst. I've been working as a challenge leader now for 23 years with Global, and I've loved every minute of it. I'm so excited to be going back to Peru soon and leading your trek with you. It's a fantastic opportunity to see the country, to learn about the culture, to enjoy the food, to enjoy the whole experience of Cusco and the Inca Trail. My job through the trek is to keep you well, safe and happy. I'm there to support you and do everything I can to make this a challenge of a lifetime. I'm very approachable. I've got a lot of experience and I really do love what I do. So I'm looking forward to meeting you when I pick you up at the airport in Dublin. 2.25 hours across, 2.5 hours across to Madrid. Well, we'll pick up the LATAM flight to Lima. Once we get into Lima, it's very simple. We pick up our bags, we go through the departure exit, and then we check in straight away, which is only 2 doors down to where we check in for our flight up to Cusco, again with LATAM. Once we get to Cusco, don't be alarmed. The altitude in Cusco is 3,200 meters in elevation. So you might find you feel a little bit breathless and you're wondering, you know, what you've come to, but it's quite normal. So we'll get you checked into the hotel. We'll go out for lunch, and then that first afternoon we do a lovely walk around the Playa de Armas, which is the main square in Cusco. You can pick up some currency, use the ATM or convert your currency that you've got. We'll have a nice lunch together, and then we'll give you the opportunity to have a walk around, find your feet. The Playa de Armas is a fantastic square. It's got the main cathedral in the square, lots of coffee shops, restaurants, places you can sit and watch the world go by. And then in the evening, we'll give you the main briefing about what's going to happen on our first day, the following day, which is our acclimatization day around the Inca sites around Cusco. So it'll be an early start on that morning. We'll transfer about 20 minutes up to the first Inca site, which is called Sacsayhuaman. Sounds like sexy woman, but it's called Sacsayhuaman. And we'll give you some history about the Inca site. We'll have a tour of the Inca site, and then we'll transfer again, a short transfer to Tambamache, which is one of the main religious sites around the sites above Cusco. We'll then have a lunch, and then we'll go through one of the main briefings for you about the Inca Trail. We'll give you the green duffel bag, which will contain all your clothes for trekking, and that should weigh no more than 6 kg, including your sleeping bag. So that briefing will be done after lunch on the acclimatization day near to Pucapucara, which is the Red Fort. So we'll go back down then into Cusco, back into the hotel. You'll have some free time, and then that evening we'll have dinner together and go through any questions or queries you'll have about the Inca Trail. And then the following morning, which is our day 4, we'll start on the 2.5-hour transfer to kilometer 82, which is the start of the Inca Trail. On the way, we stop in Aleta Tambo for coffee, and if you want to pick up any last minute, you know, things like we try and buy some of the what they're called, the coca leaves for the porters that they like to chew. So it's a way of us saying, you know, we're here with you, we're supporting you too. And you can buy sweeties, you can buy ponchos if you've forgotten them, and anything you need before we start on the kilometer 82. When we get there, there'll be lots of other trekkers, there'll be porters weighing all the bags. So please make sure your bag doesn't weigh more than 6 kg, including your sleeping bag. And then we'll start on the trail. We go through the checkpoint at kilometre 82. So you'll need to take your passport, not a copy, but your actual passport to show to the registration point. And then we start on the trail. The first day, it's only probably about 7 hours maximum to get to our first camp, which is at Whalabamba. It's an easy trek the first day. We start at about 2,300 kilometres at kilometre 82, and our altitude on the final day, on the first day, is 3,000. On the way through, we'll go to a very famous site, our first Inca site, which you can see on the slide, which is called Lacta Pacta. And our guides are very informative and knowledgeable about all the different sites we'll see. And they love to answer questions. They love to be part of the group. They love to chat with you. Please ask lots of questions. You know, they're there to support us. And they're fantastic guys. I've known them now for many years. And it's always a joy to trek with them. So once we get to Whalabamba, we'll get you into your tents, 2-person tents. We'll get a cup of tea. They'll introduce you to all the different guides there, the porters, the cooks, assistant cooks, Rocket Man, who's our porter Lou, carrier and disposer of the waste. Fantastic guy. He's got a great sense of humour. And that evening we'll go through again the next day's trekking, which is up to Dead Woman's Pass. So that's going to be a tough day the following day. We'll be trekking probably about 8 hours in total. Our highest point we reach is the Dead Woman's Pass, which is 4,200 kilometres above sea level. It's a long, steady climb up to Dead Woman's Pass, but the scenery and the views on the way, you'll probably see lots of llamas and alpacas, lots of birds. Obviously, we make a lot of noise when we're trekking, so you won't see anything like snakes or bugs because they tend to scurry away. But you just need to take your time, find the pace that's right for you and stick to it. It doesn't matter if you're in the front or in the back, in the middle, if you're taking your time, if you feel you're slow. It really doesn't matter. It's important that you get your breathing right, that you understand there's plenty of time. We have all day to get up there, and then there's a long trek down into our camp at Pachameo. So as I said, we'll support you. We have local guides with us. We have a doctor. I'll be there, and I'll be walking at the front of the group, at the back of the group, in the middle of the group. And my job, as I said, is to keep you well, safe and happy. Don't worry about anything. You're there to enjoy yourself. Stop, take your photographs, look around you, have chats with people, find out, more about the country, more about the terrain. And our guides will be more than happy to chat with you. So when we get into camp at Pachameo, again, you'll have water for washing. It's a small bowl of water, and you can do all your bits and do what you've got to do. And then you'll have a lovely meal again in the evening in camp. Usually we have soup, and then there's a main course, and then a dessert. And then you can bed down for the night and have a good night's sleep. So again, the following day, we go from Pachameo to Winiwena. On this day, you'll go through quite a number of Inca sites. The first one is called Roncarinque, which is a very, very important site to the Incas. And then we go up through Putapatamarca, which is the highest point before we start traveling down through all the Inca steps down to our camp at Winiwena. So it's another long day, but beautiful scenery. You'll go up through the cloud forest. So this is probably the day where it'll be quite misty and you might get some rain. So you have to take great care on the steps, on the Inca steps and the terrain, because they're boulders, some are steps, some are, you've got tree roots, you've got all sorts of different things to walk on. So you really need to have very good boots with strong ankle support. But you take your time, you know, there's lots to see and do on that trek. Stop and take your photos, and there'll be lots of flowers to see, there'll be birds, and hopefully we'll see our llamas or the alpacas. So once we've got down to Winiwena, it's quite low. It's about 2,400. And then from Winiwena, we start another day, which is the day we get to Machu Picchu. It's about a 2-hour trek up to the Sun Gate, which will give you your first fantastic view of Machu Picchu in all its glory. And hopefully the sun will be shining and it'll be clear blue skies, and you'll get the most amazing view from the Sun Gate. So from there, we trek down into Machu Picchu. Another difficult day, but very, very rewarding. And then when we actually get into Machu Picchu, we'll do a guided tour around Machu Picchu with our local guides, who will tell you all about the history, about the Mayan culture, about our Mbingam, who actually found Machu Picchu, although lots of the local people knew it was there years before anyway. And it will be an opportunity to be a tourist for a couple of hours. And then we'll get the transfer down to Aguascaliente, which is a real fun place. Lots of cafes, restaurants, markets, and we'll have a meal in the local restaurant before we catch the train back to Ollanta Tambo. So a lot to do, a lot to see, fantastic trek, scenery, culture, the whole ambience of it is quite phenomenal, and it's something it will stay with you for the rest of your life. So we'll get on the train, we'll go back to Ollanta Tambo, and then we'll transfer from Ollanta Tambo back to Cusco, and you'll be absolutely knackered and you'll have had a fantastic time. So good night's sleep in Cusco, and then you've got a full day off the next day in Cusco. So you can have a late breakfast, you can get up, you can walk around the Playa de Armas. There's lots of markets to go and see. If you want to, you can actually do an excursion to Rainbow Mountain, but that is quite a long day, depends on how you feel. But just hang out in the square, have coffee, look around, go to the markets, and just take some time off. And then that evening, we have our celebratory dinner in a local restaurant in Cusco, where we can celebrate and enjoy and recount our stories, say thank you to our guides, and just celebrate this fantastic achievement of completing the Inca Trail. And then, of course, the next day we're off again. We have to go back to Lima, and then we've got a short layover in Lima, and then back to Madrid, and then back to Dublin. So it's a fantastic trip, guys. You will love every minute of it. I've been doing it for years, and it's just absolutely amazing. Can't recommend it enough. The training, well, the most important thing is that you try and do as much training as you possibly can. The fitter you are, the more you'll enjoy it. You don't have to be super athletes, but you do have to have some form of stamina to be able to walk consecutively for a few days. So put your boots on, get out into the countryside, just walk, consecutive days over the weekend, try and do some long hikes over the weekend, and just keep your fitness levels up as much as you can. It's all about the mindset as well. You don't have to be the fittest person on the earth. You just have to have that good mindset you're there raising money for a fantastic charity. You're there with your colleagues or your friends, and to make the most of it. And it's really important you keep that strong mindset. You can do this. You'll have lots of support from me and from the other guys, and from the people that are also on the trek. And it's fun, and we laugh, and we have jokes, and we make it the best experience we possibly can. So make sure you've got good boots, good socks, and just get out there in the countryside and do as much training as you possibly can, and build up your stamina, because that's what you'll need more than anything, is stamina and a very good mindset. So I hope that's helped, and I really look forward to meeting you very soon and actually getting it done.
Thank you very much, Terry. I think that was very, very useful. I'm just going to kick straight off with some questions. So Terry, I'll ask the question, and if you can give the answer to the group. So the first question really is, how will the altitude affect me?
Altitude is a funny thing. Have known over the years the strongest, fittest people go down like babies with altitude, and then I've seen a woman in her late 60s, thin as a rake, and be absolutely fine. You never know how the altitude is going to affect you. The best advice I can give is to listen to your body. You'll know at altitude you might feel a little bit breathless, you might feel dizzy, you might have trouble sleeping, or you might have a headache. It doesn't mean to say you've got altitude sickness. That isn't altitude sickness. You'd know if you got altitude sickness. This is just the effect of altitude on your body. So all you need to do is drink the coca tea, which will be available in our hotel in Cusco. Drink plenty of coca tea the first 2 days you're there, and make sure you're drinking plenty. You're trying to eat, sensibly. Listen to your body, slow down a bit if you're getting out of breath, and your body will acclimatise. And certainly the 2 days we've got before we start the trek, and certainly the day when we go up to the Inca sites, because the highest Tambamache is 3,700 meters. So we'll go from 3,300 meters in Cusco up to Tambamache 3,700 meters, and your body will start to acclimatise. And then we come back down to Cusco in the afternoon, and your body will be producing more red blood cells, which will put more oxygen into your body, and that will help with the altitude. But my best advice is, don't worry, don't panic, don't think you've got altitude sickness. Your body will adjust. Just give it time, and then by the time we start on trek, you're going to go up gradually all the way up to 4,200 meters. Then you come down to 3.8, then you come down to 3.4, then you go back up to 3.7. So it just varies each day, but it is something that you will get accustomed to. Just give your body time and try not to panic and worry.
Thanks, Terry. And is there top-up points for water refills during the challenge?
Every lunchtime we stop on trail, and the guys set up the mess tent. We have a proper meal, a hot meal at lunchtime, and then there'll be opportunity for you to top up your water. The water's filtered, it's treated. They're very, very careful to make sure that the water is absolutely pristine, and you'll be able to top up your camelbacks or your water bottles then after lunch.
Brilliant.
You take about 3 litres of water a day, but you don't have to carry it all in the morning. Just make sure you've got enough, 1.5 litres, 2 litres maximum till lunch, and then you can top up again in the afternoon after lunch.
Brilliant. And are ankle support boots necessary, or can you wear hiking shoes?
Oh, absolutely. A good solid boot with good grip on your soles. Ankle supports are absolutely necessary, because the terrain is rough in parts. You're up and down the Inca steps, and you need a good solid boot with good grip on your soles, and also good walking socks. If you can buy good walking socks, that's really important.
Fantastic. And what will the weather be like during the trek, Terry, particularly at night as well?
It can get chilly at night, but our camps are quite protected. Certainly Winiwena camp is quite warm actually at night. The one camp we have at Pachameo can be a bit chilly, and also the first one at Huelabamba. But normally it's not too, this time of year in November, it's not too bad at all. The daytime temperatures are probably about 26. It can dip down to about 10 at night, but providing you've got a 3-season sleeping bag, you'll be warm enough, definitely.
Thank you. And how much money should participants bring, and in what type of currency?
Well, I would suggest, because it's protected currency, you need to bring you use the ATM in Cusco if you want to withdraw soles, which is the local currency. I would suggest that you need to bring some money to tip the guides. It's usually between 100 and 300 soles per person. for the guides, for the porters and cooks on trek, and then another 70 to 150 soles tip for our guides, which we will give them at the celebratory dinner in Cusco. I would suggest either bringing sterling, which you can convert to soles. There's a Western Union place in the Playa de Armas in Cusco, or just bring your debit card and you can exchange. There's plenty of ATMs in Cusco and you can get enough money out to take on trek. So there's not an awful lot of things to buy on trek, obviously. In each camp, there's nothing to buy, basically. At the first camp at Huelabamba, there's a local lady comes and you can buy beers and soft drinks, but you're not going to need an awful lot of money. Just make sure you've got enough money to tip the guides and the porters and the cooks and that when we get to Winiwena in the morning before we go up to the Sun Gate. That's important. But I would think, you know, withdraw the money when you get to Cusco, enough for the trail, and then you can always top up that when you get back to Cusco for if you want to go shopping. I don't suggest that you pay in the markets with anything other than local soles. I think that's probably best thing to do. As far as much money you take, it's entirely how much you want to spend. There's lots of fantastic things to buy. Certainly in Cusco, San Pedro market is a massive market. You can buy all your Christmas presents and all your gifts and everything there. And eating out, our meals are provided, but on your day off, you can buy lunch out in the square and go and have a few beers. There's an Irish bar if you want to go. I'll show you where that is if you want to go and enjoy that. And yeah, just take the minimum amount of money you need to on trail, and then you can always top it up when you get back to Cusco.
Fantastic. Thank you, Terry. And I know that you've covered this next question already, Terry, but just so that everybody's absolutely clear on it, what's the weight limit on the trail bag?
6 kg maximum, to include your sleeping bag.
Fantastic. And does your sleeping bag have to go inside the trail bag?
No, your duffel bag contains your clothes and toiletries, but you're not going to need much. So be quite frugal with what you take. But your sleeping bag, put it into a waterproof bag and tie it to the top of your the duffel bag. And as long as it doesn't weigh more than 6 kg, that's fantastic. Because these porters, they have a limit to how much they can carry. And what we don't want is to push them beyond that limit. Because you might end up, if you decide to take all sorts of different things, the guides at the kilometre 82 will probably suggest that you put it in your backpack. And that's, you don't want to be carrying extra weight. You backpack again, just briefly, take the minimum. Don't start putting all sorts of different things in there. You need to carry your water, your snacks, any medication that you need. You need a suntan, sun cream, insect repellent, sun hat, and then perhaps a fleece or your waterproofs. That you don't need to start bringing all sorts of different things and put them in your backpack, because you've got to carry it. So just be, you know, sensible with that, because they can get heavy when you're going uphill. So
brilliant. And food wise, Terry, is there vegetarian options available?
Yeah, the guys need to make sure on their questionnaire that they give us any information about special diets or gluten-free or macrobiotic or whatever diet there is, or vegetarian. If we know, the guys can actually prepare beforehand. But the food is fantastic on trek, and they will do everything they can to make sure all diets are catered for. And there's plenty of food, plenty of choice. And yeah, amazing. What they produce in the cook tent is, you know, fantastic.
Well, and the $1 million question, Terry, tell us about the toilet facilities.
Oh, go on. The toilet facilities. Well, in camp, you've got porta potties in like a little tent. Usually there's one for men and one for women. But in the great outdoors, you have to find a convenient bush, tree, rock, anything to do what you've got to do. At lunchtime, they will put up one of the porta cabins, you know, porta potties in a tent, and then you can use those facilities. But actually on trek, you have to go in the great outdoors. Make sure you've got nappy sacks with you so you can take any toilet paper with you that can be disposed of in camp. Again, make sure you keep your hands thoroughly clean, your nails short, your nails clean, because what we don't want on trek is for anyone to get sick and have tummy upsets.
Brilliant. And what medical injections are mandatory, Terry?
Well, we can't give advice on this, but what I would suggest you do is to look at the World Health site or to talk to your practice manager at your doctor's. He or she will be able to give you all the relevant information for that area.
Fantastic. And the last question on the list is just about wildlife. Is there any snakes, mosquitoes, spiders?
It's too high for mosquitoes, but you'll get little midges certainly around sundown. So insect repellent I always put on. Once I get into camp in the late afternoon, I put some insect repellent on. Mosquitoes, it's not a malarial area, but they're more like little midges. They're annoying, but they're not dangerous. Snakes and bugs, always make sure you zip up your tent if you're not in it. Shake out your clothing in the morning, your boots, your socks, everything. Keep everything inside your tent. Don't leave anything outside your tent. And just be aware that you are in the great outdoors. I've never seen, in all the years I've been going to Peru, I've never seen a snake. I've seen some spiders, but I've never seen a snake. The wildlife, you'll see lots of birds and llamas, alpacas. Apart from that, you won't see much else. But we make so much noise on the trail that, you know, unless you try and be quiet, you scare a lot of things away. So there you are.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Terry. I'm just going to cover a little bit just now around some of the availability of information. So everybody by now, I would hope, has managed to access their account hub. If you haven't, the way to access your account hub is via the Global Adventure Challenges homepage, and in the top right hand corner of the screen there is a button that says log in or account. If you click on that and log in using the email address which you used when you registered and the password that you created at that time also, you'll get into your account, which will give you access to all of the information. Again, some of that Terry will have just gone through with you, but the further information document is a great source of information and contains details on the itinerary. There's also access to a kit list. Your flight information is in there, your accommodation information is in there, and also it's the area which we need you to go on and submit your personal information to us. So again, if you haven't done so already, it's really critical that you get access to that account so that you can give us your medical information, dietary requirements, next of kin information, passport details, etc. If you do have any difficulties at all accessing that account hub, then please don't hesitate to contact the office either via email or do pick up the phone and give us a call. We can help reset passwords and make sure that you've got access to all of that information. What will be happening in the lead up to the challenge is there will be one more set of correspondence that gets sent from us. That's what we call the final joining instructions, and they will be sent to you or shared with you around about 14 days prior to departure. So it could be any time between 14 and around about 7 days before. Those important joining instructions will give you some final reminders, but importantly, they'll also give you Terry's contact number for on the day, details of where to meet her, and also the correct meeting point in the airport terminal as well. There'll also be some important contact numbers in there which you're more than welcome to leave with your friends and family in case of emergency. So that's not just a general check-in on where you are, but if there's an emergency in the UK or there's an emergency in Peru, there's a central number there which is manned by our 24-hour on-call team from the office. So there's always someone there to answer that. Also with the final joining instructions, we'll share with you your e-ticket, which may come in the form of a ticketed statement with everybody's name in the group on it, or it may be an individual ticket or boarding pass. they're all the same. With it being a group booking, we don't get the same necessarily as what you'd get if you booked a ticket yourself, in terms of printout. So we will provide you with whatever evidence you need to be able to check in when you're at the airport. So that's it in terms of the correspondence that will come from us. But as we've kind of already touched on, if you do need anything or do think of anything that comes as a result of this call, or when it comes to packing your bag and you realise you don't quite know the answer to a question, then you know where we are. Contact us by phone or email, and we'll be more than happy to help. And if I don't speak to any of those that have watched this video, then I do hope that you have a fantastic challenge, and I'm sure that you'll be in very, very safe and capable hands with Terry as your leader. So thank you very much, and that's it from us.
Thanks very much, guys. See you soon. Take care.